Hello YouTube, and welcome to Part 4 of Don't Vote for the Douche or the Turd. In Parts 1 through 3, I held the Turd sandwich John McCain's feet to the fire by exposing his endless list of inconsistencies. Now in Part 4, it's time to hold the giant douche Barack Obama, who many seem to think is the Lord Jesus Christ, accountable. There are many reasons why Obama the giant douche doesn't deserve to be president, any more than John McCain the Turd sandwich does. But there are three things in particular which all voters with a brain should know before they even think about voting for Barack Obama. The first reason is that, like John McCain, Barack Obama has a rather nasty habit of flip-flopping, which, since his primary victory, is getting worse. He doesn't have nearly as many under his belt as John McCain does, but is now, even to the embarrassment of some of his base, making up for some lost time. On guns, Obama has advocated since entering politics strict gun control measures. Many of them are common sense restrictions like bans on assault weapons, background checks, requiring child safety locks on all guns manufactured. But some, like his stated support of the D.C. handgun ban, which was recently ruled by the Supreme Court and struck down, cannot be reconciled with the Second Amendment, or his stated support of it despite his feeble attempts to do so, such as this answer he gave a question asked by a reporter on February 11, 2008. You said in Idaho recently, I'm quoting here, "I have no intention of taking away folks' guns." But you support the D.C. handgun ban, and you've said that it's constitutional. How can you reconcile these two different positions? Because I think we have two conflicting traditions in this country. I think it's important for us to recognize that we've got a tradition of handgun ownership and gun ownership generally, and a lot of law-abiding citizens use it for hunting, for sportsmanship, and for protecting their families. We also have a violence on the streets that is a result of illegal handgun usage, and so I think there's nothing wrong with cracking down on various loopholes that exist in terms of background checks. For children, the mentally ill, we have reasonable, thoughtful gun control measures that I think respect the Second Amendment and people's traditions. Of course, he's got the facts wrong. It bans all handguns, not just the illegal ones, like the Colt 45s. Obama's triangulation on guns continued, where he recently declared his support for the Supreme Court decision which declared the D.C. handgun ban Obama claimed to support months ago unconstitutional, and denied he even held the position in the first place when asked the same question on June 26, 2008. That's not what I said back in November. When the reporter noted that an aide to Obama admitted it, he still denied it. Well, I don't know what my aide said, but I've been very consistent. I teach constitutional law. What I said was that I believe in the Second Amendment as being an individual right, and I've said that consistently. I also think that individual rights is constrained by the rights of the community to maintain issues of public safety. I don't think these two principles are contradictory. And in fact, what I've been saying consistently is what the Supreme Court essentially said today, that the D.C. law may have been struck down, but they also affirm the rights of local communities to engage in background checks and other common sense laws that most lawful gun owners would agree with. Of course, now realizing that the jig was up, the Obama campaign did the right thing, of course, by using a different shovel to scoop the bullshit into voters' mouths, by claiming that Obama's flip-flop wasn't a flip-flop, but an artful attempt to explain the senator's consistent position. When the only consistent position Obama and other flip-flopping politicians like John McCain is that political expediency is more important than truth or logical and moral consistency. Obama even went as far as to deny his signature on a questionnaire in 1999 when he ran for the Illinois State Senate, which asked the following and has the following answers as confirmed by the nonpartisan websites factcheck.org and ontheissues.com. Do you support state legislation to A. Ban manufacture and sale and possession of handguns? Yes. Ban assault weapons? Yes. Mandatory waiting periods and background checks? Yes. Obama's campaign said, Senator Obama didn't fill out these state Senate questionnaires. A staffer did, and there are several answers that didn't reflect his views then or now. He may have jotted some notes on the front page of the questionnaire, but some answers didn't reflect his views. On civil liberties, Obama, priding himself on being a constitutional law scholar, took a firm line in support of fulfilling his duties to the Constitution by voting against the Protect America Act last year, which would have legitimized Bush's illegal domestic spying program. His statement on January 29, 2008 best sums it up. "We have to make clear the lines that cannot be crossed. That's why I'm co-sponsoring Senator Dodd's amendment to remove the immunity provision. Secrecy must not trump accountability. We must show our citizens and set an example to the world that laws cannot be ignored when it is inconvenient." Sadly, like far too many Democrats these days, instead of continuing to stand up for the Constitution and the rule of law, Obama came to the same conclusion as George W. Bush, that the laws can be ignored when they are inconvenient, by supporting the compromise bill, recently passed by Congress and signed by Curious George, which legitimized Bush's Gestapo-like domestic spying program, which has not made us any safer and gave conditional immunity to telecom giants for their cooperation in helping the government wipe its ass with the Constitution. Obama justified his change, to borrow a phrase he often uses, from defender of the Constitution to a modern-day Neville Chamberlain, with the following statement. "But given the legitimate threats we face, providing effective intelligence collection tools with appropriate safeguards is too important to delay, so I support the compromise, but do so with a firm pledge that as President, I will carefully monitor the program, review the report by the Inspectors General, and work with Congress to take any additional steps I deem necessary to protect the lives and the liberty of the American people." Of course, this obviously ignoring what he should know better as the former head of the Harvard Law Review and being a specialist in constitutional law, that indeed, to paraphrase Benjamin Franklin, he who gives up essential liberty for some temporary security deserves neither and will probably get neither. Of course, to those in Obama's base who are rightfully outraged at this display of political and moral cowardice on this so-called compromise, I urge you not to fall into the trap and vote for Obama as the lesser evil, for if you do that, you will waste your vote. That's it for Part 4 of Don't Vote for the Douche or the Turd. Stay tuned for Part 5 for even more of Obama's flip.